It's like telling me, are we live? Are we live? Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Are Meant for More. I am your host, Francina Yala, and I am just thrilled that I have this opportunity to be here with you all and share all the goodness that is coming your way. Today's topic is going to be how to handle criticism and stay on track. And I have a free workbook for you all that I'm going to drop just in case you guys didn't see it in the... Oh, geez. Here we go. That's not it. Don't you hate that? Grab the wrong link. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to just drop it really quick so that you guys have the opportunity to actually type it out into your URL and download it right away. So it is accessible to you right away. No filling anything out. Just go to francinayala.com/. And I'm so sorry I made it long. It happened to kind of stumble upon that way, but go ahead and use those dashes and go and put that in so that you have the opportunity to download. And it is a fillable document. So I want to be able to share this with you all because how many times have you ever been criticized or felt like somebody was criticizing you and you took it maybe either the wrong way or you took it in a way that, or was the right way in a sense where somebody really hurt your feelings within. And this is where I really want to shine on this topic because it can definitely keep us from moving forward in our lives. And somebody just reminded me to check and make sure that we are live. So I'm going to do that as you're downloading the workbook. Let me go ahead and head on over to, usually Facebook will tell me right away. Okay, I am live. For some reason, it blocks it sometimes, which is insane. I don't know why it does that. He just reminded me to check and make sure. Sorry. Edit. Yep, Facebook isn't letting me share for some reason. I don't know why. That is odd. It is blocking it privately and it's only allowing me to share it with me. So that's not okay. Let me go ahead and make sure. I'm so sorry if you guys, you know how I want to make sure that this is out there for the masses to see. And yeah, it's not letting me do it. All right, Facebook, I see you. You know what I've noticed though, that they've been keeping me away from a few things. So I'm sorry. If you can't see me on Facebook, you're going to have to join me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and e360.com. So hopefully we are live over there and we are doing just fine. I'm going to go ahead and I see it live, so I think we're good to go. But for some reason, Facebook has been blocking me recently and I'm going to have to look into that. So we shall see what is happening. All right. So as you know, I went ahead and shared the workbook with you. Hopefully you were able to download it. And I'm just going to make sure that we are live on. Yes, we're live on YouTube. Good. Okay. That's all I needed to do just to make sure everything was good to go. So let me go ahead and hide this and we'll go ahead and jump into it. Now, before I do, I want to touch on something that's been really heavy. If you all know, I live in the almost the Los Angeles area. I'm about 40 minutes outside of downtown LA. And so a lot has been happening in California, Southern California, and actually throughout the US, but it's very focused. What we've seen is in the city of LA, where our family and friends of loved one, of people we know, people we work with, they're being picked up left and right from ICE. And it's devastating. It's devastating to watch because, you know, we know that we've all come together as immigrants. We've all come from somewhere. And the thing is, I put a very heartfelt post on Facebook and I shared that nobody wants this to happen. And of course, I got a lot of emotional responses, which is understandable. Ultimately, we get to pray for people. We get to show up for them in a space of support and whatever that may look like. How can you support somebody who is struggling? In general, it's just ultimately it's being a kind human being. It's being somebody that would be there for someone else, or that if you were struggling and somebody else would be there for you, and just showing kindness. That's all we're asking for, is showing kindness, because the way that things have been brought about, it's been with a lot of force and very emotional, especially for children and families to be torn apart the way it is. And so I just wanted to take a moment to just let you all know that, there are peaceful protests out there that are taking place. It can get a little chaotic with people that don't know any better, because all they know is anger and frustration and violence. And unfortunately, that is something that good people that are families and friends and so forth, and coworkers and colleagues, can't control. And it ultimately, those people that are rioting, it sheds a really bad light on immigrants in general that are coming here to work and support their families. And so I want you all to take a moment, say a prayer, that they are safe and they are protected. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you all, that we all get to come together as prayer warriors for them, and provide resources and support them where we can, whatever that may look like for you. I'm doing my part. I know my friends are doing their part. And that's how we get to show up in God's community of supporting others. Okay? All right. I just had to say that because it was on my heart. And yeah, I just I wanted everyone to know that we are here however we can support, so that there's a smooth transition into this whole process, because it's been a little chaotic. Okay. And then secondly, I just wanted to apologize for last week. If you joined my show live and you didn't see me show up, it was because I actually sponsored a student who has faced some financial situations and in difficulties. And so I gathered my community together, and we were able to support her in her graduation. She was able to get a graduation dress, shoes, and she was able to go to grad night. So her ticket was purchased by someone else, and we were able to give her money so that she can buy food and really experience Disneyland for the very first time. And so I just want to thank my community, the people that are out there that really came full circle to support someone who comes from a single mother. I was a single mother at 17 years old, and that has always been my heart, to really support women who are unable to support their children when it matters most, especially during senior year and all the senior activities. So I've been able to help her, to sponsor her, and driving her to and from her senior activities. And so my apologies. Last week we were gathering her graduation cap, getting it decorated, and getting her ready for graduation, which was the following day on Thursday, which I went to, and it was beautiful. So prayers for any type of support that they can receive, as well as they're navigating being new to California. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. And, thank you for letting me share my heart. I absolutely adore you all for coming to this channel, for sharing with me, for supporting in this opportunity to spread love, kindness, and just the opportunity to empower and inspire women and men, because I notice I have a large following of men as well across the world. So that is my goal. That is my heart. That is God's mission on my life. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back to how to handle criticism and stay on track. As I mentioned, I did create a workbook. And so we're going to dive into this workbook and see basically how we can maneuver this together. Now, again, I've been through these types of times where somebody has said something to me and I took it offensively. But again, it's all about how we internalize it. It's how we respond versus react. And so let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we're going to go through the workbook together. Go through it at your own pace. This is just an opportunity for you to be guided in this workbook, and ask any questions, especially if you're joining live. It's a perfect opportunity when you join me live, because then I can respond to your question right away versus trying to get a replay. I mean, of course, let me know if you're catching this on replay, and I'm more than happy to respond after the fact. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this was how to handle criticism, stay on track. So let me go ahead and head on over to the workbook. All right, so I love this image because it's like this person who is like, all these things are coming to them. People are saying, you know, all these different words and meanings, and somebody is internalizing them. So the workbook will just share a little bit about me, and then of course our disclaimer that talks about who I am as a professional. So NLP certified, and what I do as far as coaching is more of the holistic approach versus medical. So I always encourage you to seek out a professional if needed, if you need any type of mental health treatment, and seek out a doctor. Okay. So this is just welcoming you to the journey, and we're going to go ahead and just jump straight into section 1. Now, I love that this form is fillable, so you have the opportunity to type in there, So number 1 is identify your criticism triggers. List 3 criticisms that affect you most. So I want you to really dig deep in this area and focus on a criticism that you may have received personally at work, or maybe at your business, or maybe from a client, or maybe from your family. And sometimes, our family, they don't even know any better, and they criticize us without them realizing it. But we get to change that response and change that narrative, because as we're growing as individuals, as we're growing as business owners, let me just tell you, as we elevate in our mindset and in our thoughts and in our growth, we then realize the people that criticize us or that share negativity, that is their map of reality. It's not ours. And the thing is, we have the power and we have the ability to take control of our emotions. And this is why I'm so passionate about sharing these types of opportunities with people, because this is where we truly step into our power. We're able to control our emotions when somebody says something that can affect us internally. And I'm excited for you all. Okay. I'm going to even share one of mine. Okay. So list 3 recent criticisms. You do it on your own. You can do it. We can do it together. You can take time to really reflect on this, but I'm going to share one with you guys. And this was I'm trying to remember. Okay. This was one I received. Okay. This one actually came, sorry, I just realized I wasn't showing it. This one actually came from a client who's now actually become a really good friend of mine. And he told me, he goes, "You're doing too much and you look like you're all over the place. So why would someone want to do business with you?" And you guys, it could have been one of the best pieces of feedback I have ever received, because every type of feedback he's said to me has allowed me to grow as a business owner. And I am so grateful for that, because I'm in my power, because I receive feedback. Now, there is a difference between constructive feedback and criticism, where somebody is being malice against you, projecting their own anger and jealousy. And there's a difference, and we're going to get into it a little bit more. But I wanted to share that with you, because the thing is, this is an opportunity for growth. Everything I provide is an opportunity to set you up for your next level. is to be able to become a better communicator, is to be able to go after what it is that you want. And in order to do that, you have to come from a place of assurance, a place of confidence, and a place of being able to articulate what it is you want. Okay, sound good? All right, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and head down. So this was just an example of mine, okay? The next section is step 2 is power reclaim questions. So for each criticism above, so if you know everything that you've written up here, what part of this was actually helpful feedback? And so I don't know why I deleted it, but basically it was helpful for me because then it allowed me to step back and reassess my habits, reassess what I do on a daily basis, reassess what I'm working on and how it can be beneficial for people. It even progressed me into, I know who I am, I know what I offer. So my systems may be a little chaotic where it looks like I'm all over the place, but I know the, like, I want to say, you know, the meat and potatoes that I provide. Like, I provide so much value for my clients. I make shift happen. I change their lives. And I know the end result that they're going to receive. And so, like, where he may have seen like the chaos, yes, I sometimes run around like a chicken without their head. And I understand that. But it allowed me to reassess and look at everything from his perspective and then make the adjustments. So grateful for that. Grateful for that feedback. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and head down. Okay, sorry, that was that one. All right. So if you take it down further, what part was just someone else's opinion or projection? Now, as far as an example, I'm off the top of my head. Now, you may have written something from work. You know, somebody told me this email was irrelevant because XYZ, you know, and so you wrote that down. You know, this, like, what part of this was someone else's opinion or projection? Because what happens is there's a thin line. So let's say for sake of this example, this email was not up to our standards as a company. Okay. Let's just say you receive this. Now, what happens is sometimes we go into this space of, well, that person doesn't like me and she's really rude, or he's threatened by me. There's all of these inner dialogues that we go through. And it's like, okay, but take a look at step back, emotions aside, and take a look at, is it their opinion, their projection, or was it helpful feedback? Because guess what? Because I personally know how to control my emotions, I ask questions. Okay, great. What do you suggest going forward? I would love your feedback. Okay? And somebody who is trying to be harsh and critical of who you are and is actually trying to put you down won't have a response. Or their response will get even more judgmental. And if you know what I mean, you know, like, that resonates, you understand the process. So, like, for example, this email was not up to our standard. Okay, great. Like, what kind of feedback can you give me so that I can, make it to the company standards? And the person responds with, well, read our handbook. Okay, no problem. Is there anything specific? Well, you should have read the handbook, so you should know. That's somebody who's consistently trying to create a harsh environment. You know, somebody that doesn't want to be supportive. Okay. Now, granted, a lot of people will spiral out of control here because it's not helpful. It's not something that, if only this person were to be helpful, then everything would be great. Everything would move forward smoothly. But guess what? Everybody's in their own emotions, everybody's in their own map of reality. So, this is why it's so important that you as an individual, you as a career or businesswoman or successful entrepreneur, whatever that may look like, that you take control of who you are and know that you provide value. And no matter what anybody thinks, you're still going to shine, because people love to bring down, hurt people love to bring down people. And that's just their own map of reality. Okay. I had a conversation with someone recently, and I had mentioned to him that if somebody cuts you off on the freeway, let's say they cut you off on the freeway because you're going too slow, and you just, look at them, and they start flipping you off, and they're giving you the finger, and they're cussing at you, and you turn around and you start engaging, and because it upset you, it triggered you, and then before you know it, it turns into a full-on road rage. I'm like, you just gave them your power. And my friend responded, what do you mean? He's like, I mean, you shouldn't allow people to walk all over you. And I'm like, no, it's not about them walking all over you. It's about you staying in your power and allowing them to overreact and let them go on their way. Because their inner emotions, anger, frustration, circumstances has nothing to do with you. It's all about them. It's all about the day they're having, about the internal beliefs, about the internal trauma that they need to deal with daily. And I get responses from people all the time. Well, why do I need to put up with it? It's not that you're putting up with it. It's just that you're not allowing them to affect your sacred space. This is your sacred space. You're not allowing it to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not allowing it for anybody to come into it or to disturb it. That is your space. And so you get to just block out all the negativity and all of the noise of anybody's type of bad energy. That's where you take control. That's where you have the power. And so, yeah, it's really not about allowing somebody to take over. And for my men that are watching, it's very hard for men because they have the ego. And it's like, if somebody bruises your ego, if somebody hurts your ego in any way, shape, or form, your brain wants to retaliate to another level. And that's where you get to step into your own power and say, no, this isn't worth it. And it is a process, but it's the opportunity of you willing to allow yourself that level of support. Because, I mean, this all goes back to your internal organs. It goes back to any type of diseases in your body that you got to deal with. It can go to a heart attack. It can manifest into lung cancer. It can manifest into all kinds of things by you holding on to your ego and the emotions that ultimately trigger you and bring up this anger and this frustration, and women too. Then it can manifest into something that is going to ultimately affect your overall well-being. So I know I've mentioned that before, but I can do a whole topic on that. But let's continue. Sound good? All right, let's go. All right, so here we go. How can I use this to grow stronger? So how do you allow this opportunity to grow stronger as a business owner, as a, career woman, as someone who's a mom? How can you allow this? How can you use this to grow stronger? What type of opportunities do you get to see in this? Because everything that we're we're faced with, every situation, everything that we have like that comes towards us is an opportunity to learn from, good or bad. It's an opportunity. So anytime something comes up where it's a little bit heavy on me, anytime, and I'm just like, oh, well, that happened. Okay. What about this situation is about me? And that's where the gold is. When you really understand the situations that take place in your life, things will start to change. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this. And God put me on a mission, and I just keep trying to argue with him and be like, really? Really, God? You want me to share that? You want me to say that? What? So yeah, we've been going at it back and forth. And I'm just like, And obviously you already know I can't fight with him. I can't even argue with him. He just puts me on this mission, and I just keep going with grace, of course. Okay. So how can I use this to grow stronger? Every lesson, every opportunity is a lesson. Every lesson is an opportunity. All right. Step 3, your power statement. This is where you get to get real. I choose to take my power back by, fill it out. I choose to take my power back by not allowing somebody's anger, somebody's emotions to affect my overall well-being. I choose to take my power back by not placing myself around situations or people that are going to disturb my peace. Whatever that may look like for you, I want you to sit with this, pray about it, and write it out. This is going to help you get real and understand that you have the power. You are in total control. All right. Here we go. Section 2. Okay, this is where we break down helpful feedback versus toxic opinions. And this is where it gets real. This is where we get to understand both sides. So helpful feedback, we have on one side specific and actionable. As mentioned earlier, are they being specific and actionable about what it is that you're doing? So like specific, okay, what's specific about this situation do you need to understand? And are they giving you actions to take, or are they just being vague and attacking? So I gave an example earlier that maybe you want to go back and listen to. So understand where these people are. So like, okay, helpful feedback, or is it a toxic attacking? The other one is if helpful feedback focuses on behavior and work. So they focus on like your behavior and work as far as like how you're responding, how you're doing. They give you feedback on how you're progressing maybe as an employee, or how you're progressing as an owner, how you're progressing as a business, so that like if they're a client, they focus on the behavior and the work. Versus if it's a toxic opinion, they attack your character. So have you ever been in a store where somebody is just like attacking like maybe the bank teller, or they're attacking the grocery clerk with just rude and malice words? And it's just, again, it's unfortunate, it's not okay. And so I wanted to make that clear that they, toxicity will attack your character. Okay. Helpful feedback comes from experience and expertise. What I loved about my client / friend, he has tons of experience. He's a business owner. And I love his feedback because it comes from his own experience. It comes from his expertise. It comes from him being in the field longer than me, and to be helping clients longer than me, to be able to share a perspective. And then toxic opinions comes from jealousy and insecurity. And that is where a lot of people get affected emotionally, through jealousy and insecurity of other people. And that's where it's not okay. So whenever I sometimes I coach with clients and they're telling me certain situations that take place at work. And this is how my boss was approaching it. And this is what my boss was doing. And I'm just like, oh, wow. And I automatically see the insecurity in the boss. Because what happens is, there's their employee who is outperforming even them. They have this ego where you can never attack an ego because they feel insecure about it. So they will come after you, even though you're doing the best job possible, because of the jealousy and insecurity that they hold on to. And it's good to know. It's good to know where those lie. Does it come from friends? Does it come from people you hang around? You'll know. You'll see it when it happens, and you'll know, you'll hear it. When it's the same constant negativity and wording, because what happens is people start to shed away from your life as you decide you are no longer going to receive that type of energy. And people will start dropping off. And it's a beautiful thing. Offer solutions, helpful feedback, offer solutions. They offer solutions. So like I can help you with, unfortunately, this email was not up to our standards, but this is how I can help you move forward. Or these are some solutions that you can, do going forward. Those are offering solutions. That's helpful feedback. When somebody is constantly only points out the problems, but they're not giving you a solution, that's toxic opinion. And lastly, delivered with respect. We all know in communication, as a communications major, we all know that everything has a tone. So delivered with respect, there's a tone within it where you're sharing and delivering with, I saw this and I just wanted to let you know that the email wasn't up to standard because our policy says in the book that we have to follow the guidelines that are lined out right here. Deliver it with respect, okay? Toxic opinions are delivered with malice. Well, if you read the book, if you read the handbook, you can see that it's there, it's outlined. That is somebody's insecurity, that's somebody's jealousy that they're projecting onto you. They're projecting their own emotions onto you because of their own insecurities. So it's really understanding between the two and knowing like how to proceed going forward. Because sometimes there's people out there that are good people. I adore them. They could be my clients, friends, family, where they will receive helpful feedback and still take offense to it. And I ask them questions. Okay, how did they say it? What was specific about it? How did they word it? And I'm like, okay, well, it didn't really sound like, it was toxic. It actually sounded like it was helpful, but you may have received it in a toxic way because then our emotions take over. Because somebody provided feedback, we get offended. And that's where it's, nope. That's where it's actually about us. And that's what we get to work on as people. All right, let's go ahead and head down. Okay, now it's your turn. Write down 3 ways you'll identify helpful feedback moving forward. What does that look like for you? Go ahead and write it in there. And then let's move on to section 3. All right, this is one of my favorite sections. Okay, let me go ahead and head over. All right, so there's this grow process. It's the successful person's criticism transformation method. Gather the facts. What exactly was said? What was said? Because, okay, I love this section because guess what? It allows us to really be good listeners. Because how many times have you heard something and then when you try to explain it, you don't get all the details correctly? Oh, I heard it this way and I received it this way and I'm writing it down. So there's, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, geez. Where somebody, I'm trying to think of the word. I mean, I know it's the assumption But ultimately it's where they're not listening properly. And there's another way, because what happens is there's two people. One person says one thing and the other person hears it completely differently. And I tell people all the time, we don't have the same brain. We do not have the same brain. So I can say, hey, I'll use my son's name. Hey, Brandon, Jack and Jill went down the hill to catch a pail of water. And Brandon will hear, Jack and Jill went down the hill to fetch a pail of water. Or they'll say, or he'll say, or to pick up a pail of water. Because his brain received it as pick up. And I went to say catch. Whatever that may look like. It may be a poor example, but I'm saying, like, let's see if I can get another one. So where, let's say it was, now I'm like, no, I really love that one. That was cute. But where maybe he received it as they went to go pick up something, but it wasn't water. He didn't hear water. I'm telling you, our brains are constantly moving, or they're processing other information and they don't receive the full sentence. And so I always ask again. I always ask why. I always ask what. I always ask, can you share that again? I'm sorry, I didn't really catch it. And how many times have you been frustrated because you had to repeat yourself again? Yep, over and over again. I get it, but be patient, because again, sometimes people don't receive the information the way you intended it to. So gather the facts. What exactly was said? Not based on what you heard, based on what they said. Does that make sense? Now, write down what you heard. Don't get me wrong. Write it down. But now you want to interpret it again so that you gather the facts from them again. So you write it down and then, okay, this is what I heard. This is what I received. This is what I interpreted. And they're going to be like, I didn't say that. And be okay. Be open. When I learned about how my brain processes, you guys, they told me I was ADHD, and I don't care. They can say whatever they want. It doesn't limit me. But I got to understand that my brain processes so much differently. And I need to ask the questions and I need to understand it. So like when I work with my assistants now, I tell them, okay, this is what I need. And I draw it out and I give them kind of like what comes from my head, a layout. And then they ask questions. And recently one came up and I'm like, I'm not really sure what you mean. And he's like, well, I need a topic. And I'm like, well, everything's outlined. There's a topic, there's a description. What else do you need? What are you going to talk about? He asked. And I was like, I'm not really understanding what you're saying. So it was funny because I tell him, I go, look, my brain is not processing what exactly you need. Can you give me an example? And I'll say that because I'm confident in who I am. It does not bother me when somebody thinks differently. It does not bother me. I think my way, they think their way, and we get to have a loving conversation together. So just understand, gather the facts. I always, like, I heard it back in the days. There's the excuse me, three-way story. He said, she said, to the truth. So what is it? All right, reframe the message. What can I learn? What can I learn from this? So reframe the message into, how do I get to learn from this opportunity or this lesson? Where is this growth process for me in this transformation? Because there is every opportunity is a growth opportunity. And then own your response. How will I choose to react? This is where you, as I mentioned, you get to step into your power and purpose. You get to show up and say, how am I going to respond to this? Okay. Now, over the years, this has been a huge growth opportunity for me. because I used to get very emotional. I used to allow things to upset me. I used to allow things to hurt me, like you name it. Plus, I'm a woman, so add hormones in there. Oh my goodness, I can't even. But ultimately, I am now in my power that when somebody approaches me a certain way, granted, it doesn't mean I don't feel anything. Sometimes it like, ooh, that was a sting. But then I step back. I step back and I'm like, what about this situation bothered me and why? So I get to reflect on me. What about this is about me? Okay. And so own your response. What I do now is whenever there's an argument between two people, like myself, and let's just say there's just a disagreement, because I don't even argue anymore. Let's just say there's a disagreement, and I just walk away. I walk away, or I don't talk to the person. I just kind of do my own thing. Like, and it's usually just my son or my mom. And I walk away and I just come upstairs. And, if it's something I need to address later on, then I will when I'm calmed down. But yeah, you have the ability to just choose how to respond. Okay. And then the other one is win with action. What will I do differently? What will I do different? What I did is I walked away. Like I remember I would start allowing myself a whole day. When I was in a relationship, I used to allow myself a whole day to allow my anger to settle down. And sometimes till this day, it only takes maybe even an hour or two. My anger calms down. I know people that hold on to anger, and anger internally affects you. It makes you sick inside. And that's why I'm like, no, you got to release it. Got to release it so that you're doing this work. You're working through it so that you're not holding on to it and it's not internally affecting you. Okay. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a recent criticism and work through the grow process. Gather the information, reframe it, own it, and put your win with action. Okay, you have the opportunity to write that there. And this one I love. It's the Mental Resilience Toolkit. When you feel triggered, use these 5 mental tricks. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. Now, we all know grounding to be like a little bit different. Some of us. I know grounding, like, you put your feet on the ground so that you're connected to the energy of the earth. And, but you can also do this in a way where if something triggers you, well, let me share with you how it works. So you have 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. When we receive harsh criticism, our minds can spiral into anxiety. How many have been there? Self-doubt or anger. This technically literally grounds you back to reality by engaging all your senses. So this is how you get to use it. So when you feel triggered, somebody's upsetting you at work, a client just upset you, somebody called you, your family member said something to you, find 5 things you can see around you. The blue pin on your desk, the plant. Like if I'm looking around, I can see my little Eiffel Tower that my son brought me from Paris. I can see my pen. I see my black marker. I could see my apple. I have snacks, I can see my pink water. So that's 5 things around me. 4 things you can touch: the texture of your chair, the smooth surface of your phone, the fabric of your shirt. Okay, touch. I can touch my mouse. I can touch my keyboard. I can touch my microphone. I can touch my necklace. I can touch my skin. And then 3 things you can hear. I can hear my, what is it? It's not a humidifier. It's, my goodness, I'm telling you guys, but it air purifier. I'm like, it helps the air. I can hear my air purifier. I can hear my AC. I can hear the cars on the freeway. 2 things you can smell. I can smell my perfume, and I can smell, I don't know, for some reason, like my room, like I can smell, like it has like a clothing smell. So I can smell the clothes in my room. And then 1 thing you can taste, mint from your gum, lingering taste of lunch. I just had an apple, so I can still taste the apple. So those are examples of like how to stop, and sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, sometimes it just takes like number 5. Okay, look what's around you. Oh, there's a curtain, there's a camera, there's my towel, there's my seat, there's my TV. Just that fast. Because I'm going to show you what happens. This is really cool. Why it works. It interrupts the emotional spiral by forcing your brain to focus on concrete, present moment details. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your calm down response. It pulls you out of your head and into your body. It gives you a moment to pause before reacting. You guys, that is so important. You got to pause before you react. That is where you have total control of your power, of who you are as a person. When you can pause. So they're saying it to you. Everything's coming down. Receive it. Receive it. Gather the facts. Write it down. How are you going to reframe it? Take some time. Some of us need to talk about it. Some of us need to journal it. Some of us need to wait that day and really process it. Whatever that may look like for you. Okay. So real life example. Someone just criticized your business idea harshly. Instead of immediately defending yourself or spiraling into self-doubt, you use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. After grounding yourself, you can respond from a place of clarity rather than emotion. This is why it's so important. It's like hitting a reset button for your nervous system. Pretty cool how something so simple can be so effective, right? I love that. All right. The reframe question. In 5 years, will this criticism matter to your success? Seriously, that is an actual question. Will the criticism matter to your success? Write it down. What is this criticism even coming up for? Why? And like, I want to ask you too, why is it affecting you so? You can say things like, oh, well, because I work hard, I show up, I do everything for them. And it's like, okay, so what about that situation is allowing for you to look deeply inside of you? And what is it that you need to prove? So find out. The next one is the source check. Is this person where I want to be in life? So like if that person is constantly criticizing, that person is showing up in a way of negative space, negative vibes and energy. Is this person where I want to be in life? No, because like we always hear the term, you get to be the better person. You get to be the bigger person. Those are the people that know how to control their environment. And then the growth mindset flip. What if this is exactly what I need to hear to level up? Oh my goodness, you guys. This has changed so many lives because guess what? It allows you to make a decision. It allows you to say, you know what? I've reflected on this and this is not who I am. This is not the type of energy I allow in my life. I get to change that. I get to change my environment. I get to understand that I don't need to be this person that gets walked all over. I don't need to be the person that keeps providing and providing and providing when I don't need to. And we get to realize a lot about ourselves as we go through this process. And that's okay. Give yourself grace. Give yourself so much love and give yourself so much grace. It'll be worth it. And then the purpose anchor. My purpose is bigger than this moment. Ooh, Ooh, write that down. Yes. Your purpose is bigger than this moment because you have a purpose in this life. And who are you? You're stepping into your power. Who do you get to be? Who do you get to show up as? Write it down. Love on yourself. And your go-to phrase. Write your personal mantra for tough moments. I am empowered. I am inspired. I am enough to allow myself this moment of growth. I am moving to my next level of business, of career, of personal development. I am shedding everything that is no longer serving me. Whatever that may look like for your personal mantra, write it down. And this is something you can always refer back to. All right. Section 5, boundary setting and goal protection plan. Your boundary blueprint. People I will limit criticism discussions with. Ooh, you guys. This allows you to kind of realize what people are in your lives that you're going to limit criticism discussions with. Who are those people? We know them. It's funny because sometimes we'll be like, oh, I don't really know. And then boom, your subconscious mind brings it to the forefront and goes, boom, that's who. And you're like, oh yeah. It's pretty funny, actually. My criticism boundary statements. I appreciate your concern, but I'm confident in my path. So what we like to say in NLP is, I appreciate your concern, and that should have been changed to and I'm confident in my path. And I always like to follow up with, thank you. I'll consider that feedback. Thank you. I'm not looking for opinions on this right now. Thank you. So whatever that may look like for you, I just kept it like this because everybody has a way of doing things. And I kept it this way because that may be your dialogue. I just personally like to say thank you. Okay, goal protection strategies. Daily goal review. This is where you get to focus on who you are, what you're building, who you're becoming, and really staying in alignment. You guys, you don't know this yet, but I had mentioned that I have a big announcement to make, and I'm sorry, it was supposed to be last week, but like I said, I didn't show up. Now, technically, I have 2 big announcements, and I was hoping the first one would have been resolved by now, but we had to push back our dates. But I'm going to share with you anyways. I haven't shared actually on Facebook and Instagram. I haven't shared over there yet. But we are doing a conference this year. So if you don't know, I do women empowerment conference and summits, and they are so fun. I get so much feedback on how much fun they are. And so that is coming September 27th. If you need to fly in, save that date. I will know for sure, hopefully by tomorrow, crossing our fingers, pray for us that it all works out. And you'll know everything next week. And then my second is I'm putting a planner together, like one that's really in depth. So when you take a look at something like this is just a quick workbook that I want you to review. But when it's talking about daily goal review, weekly progress, things like this, it's going to be a lot more in depth. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to have that. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to go through these really quick. Daily resilience habit tracker. This is where you get to center yourself if you meditate and do prayer. List 3 wins from yesterday. Energize with movement, 10 minutes. Affirm your purpose. Read your why. And then review your goals. Visualize success. So all of this is going to be broken down into a planner, which is going to be beautiful. And then 30-day habit tracker. Like keep tracks of your movement, your energize. Like check it off if you need to. You know what I mean? This is fillable, so it's amazing. And then victory journal and progress tracking. This is where it's supposed to, your weekly reflection questions. What criticism did I handle well this week? How did I grow from feedback I received? And take it all the way down, you guys. Ask these questions and then rate yourself. Rate yourself on your monthly confidence assessment. Handling criticism gracefully. Hey, sometimes it's a 5 out of 10. Sometimes it's a 10 out of 10. Some days it's going to be a 1 out of 10. Depends on how you're feeling that day, right? Staying focused on your goals, setting healthy boundaries, using feedback, maintaining emotional resilience. And then, of course, your empowerment resilience kit. When you're really struggling, remember your purpose statement, okay? If you need to write it down again, your biggest supporter words. So like you have people that are cheering you on. If you don't, you let me know and I will cheer you on. I'll give you some supportive words. Your proudest achievement, your why for this journey, and quick recovery mantras is I am built for this challenge. Criticism is just information, not truth. My dreams are worth protecting and I choose growth over comfort. And then I have a closing message for you all. So take a look when you get a chance and just know that this was a blessing to put together and I am giving it to you with so much love. All right, you guys, we are wrapping up, but I do want to let you know that next week we are going to have a special guest on the show. Yay! Now, if you didn't know, the month of June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I was talking to a friend that I had, Alex, I had just met through a mutual friend. And I love what he's doing because not only do I offer a whole women empowerment community, but he is looking to do like a men empowerment community as well. So he has something brewing up. He's going to come share it. And we're going to talk all things on when men stop showing up. So it could be relationship, business, what we're seeing in today's society. So you definitely don't want to miss out on this show. I'm so excited to bring him on next week. And he's from Wichita, Kansas, but his name is Alex Esqueda. So he is definitely going to be sharing, from where he grew up and what took place around him. And he's going to share with us like his experiences growing up as a dad with 4 kids. And so be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along for more helpful tips. You guys, I want to know your feedback. If these workbooks are working for you, let me know. If they're not, I'm happy to do away with them, but I feel like every single one has some type of value that you can really focus on in your own personal growth. And I'm all about providing so much support and offering you and giving you all the tools so that you have it in your toolkit to utilize whenever it is you're experiencing something that you could be internally struggling with. And then, of course, as always, reach out, DM me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you if something is internally not supporting you. So give me a holler. I look forward to it. Until next time, know that you're blessed, that you're worthy, and you are so loved, and you're empowered every single day by the Holy Spirit to go out there, make it happen, love on others, and know that you are meant for more. Okay? We'll see you next week, you guys. Bye. Love ya.
I want to get to know what you do, what inspires you, what you enjoy.
My ability to lead really impacts women on a larger level because not every woman has the same story or the same journey. So understanding where they've come from and where they want to go helps me be the leader that I can so that I can show up in a space of authenticity for them.